Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cheap Seats, where the seats are always cheap, and so is the production quality. It is I, Jason, along with my good buddy Brad, sans Brian today. He unfortunately cannot make it, but we didn't want to go too long without a show. So here we are in our beautiful, bright faces and my awesome football t-shirt right here. I am ready for football. Is this the appropriate attire? Brad?
Yeah, man, looks good.
Oh, well, thank you. Because, I'm a big fan of TDs. Huge, actually. Whether they're big TDs, small TDs, TDs that nobody really care about. Hey, I'm a big fan of them. Speaking of TDs, how many did Patrick Mahomes have this weekend?
Dude, about the number that your hand shows when you do this.
Ooh, that's about the right size. 5. And you were just telling me right now that nobody said anything.
Yeah, man, it was like it wasn't a front page story of some of the other things that were going on in the NFL. It was another weekend for Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs 5 touchdowns. Yeah, no big deal. Nothing we haven't seen before. Like, come on, dude, get out of here.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely incredible to me. That and you know what? It's true because I didn't even know that. And I follow sports, of course, because I have a sports show. So Patrick Mahomes making 5 touchdowns, right? Passing, right? They were all passing. Was any of them rushing?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all.
Okay, so 5 passing touchdowns in the NFL, right? Which is one better than Al Bundy did, right, when he was at Polk High School. So everybody made a big deal about that, but nobody really said anything about Patrick Mahomes doing this incredible feat. But why is that? Are we just numb to his awesomeness or what?
Yeah, man, I kind of think at this point, like, people have talked about Mahomes and the Chiefs so much that, a lot of the big heads out there in the NFL media, they're just kind of used to it. Which, if you really think about it, the NFL record for passing touchdowns in a game is 7. It's only 2 more. So anytime anybody gets remotely close to that, we probably should mention it a little bit more, in my opinion, because that performance put Patrick Mahomes in the NFL lead for passing touchdowns. He's got 14 through 4 games. That's a lot.
That is a lot because does Brady still hold the record for 50 in a season?
No, so Peyton Manning with that 2014 Broncos offense did 55.
55. Okay, so he did. That's right. He did 55. Okay, which is incredible, right? So you said he had how many touchdowns through 4? If he had 14.
Yeah, he's got 14 through 4 games.
Okay, through 4 games, right? So he's averaging about 3.5 a game. Or he's getting about 3.5 a game. So this is through 4 games. So he has 13 games left. So so he is on track. If he continues this, he'll have 59 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he gets that extra game to do it now, right? So
right, he has that extra game.
Yeah, Peyton Manning in the 16-game season, it averages out to about 4 touchdowns a game. I think pretty close to it.
But even so, even if they didn't have that game, he would still have 56. So one more, he would surpass Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it's going to be super close. And Mahomes in his first full season started. Well, I said that poorly. The first full season that he started, because remember he sat down his rookie year, he threw 50. He threw 50 and 5,000 yards. So if they have a sustainable year on offense, and if they keep having to score 30 freaking plus points a game because their defense is giving up 30 a game, there's a high probability that he's probably going to break that record the way it's going right now.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. I mean, that's incredible, and no one is really saying it either. And now, I'm not saying that they're not because I haven't been watching the talk shows and everything. I haven't been seeing Skip Bayless or any of the ESPN shows. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they are, but you would know. I mean, because you follow this stuff, and if he's flying under the radar, great. But he's flying under the radar because we've seen kind of a lackluster defense from Kansas City, and they don't seem to be that much of a threat in the AFC. Maybe a threat, but not as big of a threat as they've been in the last couple seasons. Am I right?
Well, do you see what happens, man? You have your darlings of the league at that particular time, right? Like it was the Rams until the Cardinals went out there and beat them this weekend. Now everybody's been talking about the Cardinals as maybe the best team in the NFL. They're always going to focus on what that shiny object is, who's undefeated, who's putting up the most points or whatever. So I'm not necessarily saying that they have forgotten how good Mahomes or the Chiefs are. I just think that unless they're considered the number one team and they're dominating their opponents on offense and defense, they're taking a little bit of a backseat right now, which is okay. Just remember at the end of the season that if Mahomes keeps having to throw the ball that much, that you're probably looking at a record-breaking season.
Now here's the other thing that you see is that if he does, let's say he just continues this streak of badassness and he has 59. It's 59 and a half, by the way. So I mean, it could be 60. It's 59 and a half. That half is important because over time that becomes a whole number. It could. Yeah. So it could be 60. We could be looking at the first 60 passing touchdown quarterback ever, which is incredible. Even with that extra game, it's still incredible because they throw four touchdowns in just or five touchdowns in just one game is nuts. Yeah. But we're gonna see this, and we may see this happen. But now, is it because they have to? Is it because their running game sucks, or is it just that hey, it's so easy that if we're in the red zone, yeah, we're gonna throw it because one, we have receivers that can gain positive and good yardage after the catch, good yak, right? Or are we seeing it because that's just it? There's just no other alternative. The running game is just, and we got to chunk it. Is that what's happening?
No, dude, for them, they're actually doing pretty good on the ground right now. They're averaging 130 yards per game, which isn't life-changing in the NFL, but it's also not anywhere close to the worst in the league. But a lot of what you saw this past weekend with that 5-touchdown game was Tyreek Hill's getting past the secondary for 40, 50-yard bombs, left and right. Mm-hmm. Like we've been wondering where Tyreek Hill kind of was there for a couple weeks. And he reminded everybody that he's still, if not the fastest, one of the top 3 fastest guys out there on any football field. So, like we talked about last week, man, the thing you got to worry about with Kansas City is their defense is horrible. It's bad. I mean, they gave up all kinds of points and yards to the Eagles, for Christ's sake. They're going to have to figure it out, or once it comes playoff time, they better hope they get the ball last type of scenarios is going to be, what we're looking at there, because you can't count Mahomes out unless you get a performance like the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl, on defense. But we'll give Mahomes his due, give him his props, Mr. Frog voice over here. He entertains us when he throws for all these yards and touchdowns. So it's always nice.
Yeah, I think so. But then, anyways, that's that was one of the big stories last week. Now, there were some games that I wasn't too excited about, but we saw some surprises. We saw the Giants squeak one out in overtime, and we saw the Raiders lose, and they were playing pretty good defense, I think, and they still lost. So what did we learn out of week 4? Because after week 3 you start seeing trends, and week 4 is kind of where the consistency starts kicking in. What have we learned about some of these teams?
Man, the thing that I'm kind of wondering right now is what defense is actually at the end of the season going to be one that we can legitimately say was great, that held their own and did what they were supposed to do throughout the season. We just saw what happened to Carolina, right, for the Cowboys. They were number 1 in every category going into that weekend for the most part, except for points allowed. I mean, we went over all the stats and stuff, and the second half of that game, Dallas absolutely walked all over them, ran the ball at will. Dak tied his career high for touchdowns, did whatever they want to do. If you go look right now at the statistics for who is the number one defense after week 4, it's the Buffalo Bills. But who have the Buffalo Bills played? That's a great offensive team. Nobody. They played Miami, who they blanked. They played the Texans, who set a career franchise low for offensive yards. They haven't played anybody, right? Number 2 in defense, you have Cleveland, who the best offense they played was Kansas City in week 1. So my curiosity right now is like who actually has a good defense and who doesn't. You know, how consistent is it going to be? Are they going to be above average, but not be able to stop the run, or do they suffer against the pass, et cetera, et cetera? So that's my point number 1. But my point number 2 is, what did we learn about these teams? Is we almost know nothing about these freaking teams, man. There were so many surprises and so many shakeups. Like, I had no way in my mind that the Titans were going to lose to the Jets, and they let Zach Wilson have a day throwing the ball against him. Like, there's a couple throws that Zach Wilson made this weekend where I was like, oh wow, okay, that is why he was picked so high. This dude's dropping dimes and corner routes, like literally on the sideline. He's rolling out, throwing 50-yard bombs for touchdowns. Like, it was impressive. But on the flip side, horribly disappointing for, I thought, the Titans. Yes, they're missing, their top 2 receivers, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, but they still got the million-yard man back there in Derrick Henry, so I thought they would not have too many problems with that, but they did. So, as I said when I was making my picks last week, I sit here and talk like I know a bunch of things, but as soon as the results happen, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about, because they always surprise me at the end of the day. The consistent things that we're looking for sometimes, they turn us on our head. Last week, the best team in football was the Rams, and they got pretty handled by the Cardinals. So now, Alakazam, it's the Cardinals. We don't know. We'll have to wait until the playoffs to find out for sure.
Well, so and here's something surprising, because now you're losing actually. So it's right now. Yeah. So you have 48 points. Brian, on the other hand, he jumped into the lead at 58 because him and I won the game of the week bonus. So now I'm at 52 and he's at 58 and you're way behind, which is surprising to me.
That's cute. You didn't change it like I asked you to. Okay. I changed it before the show ended, 30 seconds after I decided. Like, come on, man. That's all right. That's all right. Fine.
I will totally change it. I will totally change it. I think what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to wait until I can get some picks from Brian, and maybe I'll hop on tomorrow and I'll input everybody's picks. We'll just do it through text and we'll put it in there. It's kind of a busy week for everybody, and that's okay. We understand, and we'll get that fixed up. But I can definitely bring up the results from that. Wait a minute. What did you want me to change? I'll be fair. What did you have me change?
The Chargers and Raiders game, the last game that we picked.
So you wanted to go Chargers?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine. So you okay? So you did. So we all got the bonus. So now you and I are tied. Now we're tied. Okay. That's cool. Okay. So we're tied. So you're not that far behind. So now you're tied because we all got the bonus. So you're tied. All right. And I'll let me see if I can bring this up on the webpage here. We do this in an Excel format, so I will I'll bring this up and show everybody our rudimentary way of doing this. Okay, here we go. Where is it? Okay, so there you go. If you can see it, great. It's in gray because when I put it on the webpage, it has to be in the background. But yes, so now Brian's at 58, and you and I are both at 52 right there. So we'll keep it there, and we'll be fair. And now it's competitive again. So that's great. That's absolutely great. We know nothing, pretty much, right?
We know a little bit, right? Like we can at least fairly say we can probably between both of us pick at least the top four teams in each conference, right? So, like off the top of my head right now, I would definitely say the Cardinals are. I talked about them real big after week one. They're still impressing me, man. They're still the number one offense. Defense is looking great. I mean, they just held the Rams to 20 points. So if we're talking the NFC, I'm probably going to say, let me give you my top four. Probably going to say Cardinals, Rams, Packers, and Bucks. In no specific order is probably what I would go with.
Okay.
For the AFC, I'm probably going to say Bills, Chiefs, and then after that, man, it gets super scarce. I'm probably going to say Chargers and the Ravens.
That was an unexpected loss. It was completely unexpected. I didn't see it happening. I didn't see it coming, but it did. So
for the Rams or
no. Oh, you know what? Wrong. Never mind. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Go ahead. Carry on.
No, you're good. So that's who I'm going to say at this point. I think the other thing that stuck out to me was the Seahawks and 49ers. I talk about the Seahawks being the I think we called we had a term that we came up with, like they're the emotional.
Oh, the emos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the emotional team. So they kind of stepped up a little bit there with some Russell Wilson magic, man. He's flying all over the place, and Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in that game, but I mean the Seahawks controlled it for the most part. So they're always a team in the NFC that can give people problems if they're consistent and they can put it together. But outside of those top four teams for each conference that I just mentioned, nobody is showing me anything to tell me otherwise that it's not going to be down to those cats at the end of the year. Like I said, with the exception of the Seahawks, nobody else in the NFC scares me. Nobody else in the AFC would scare me if I was an opponent. Like, yes, the Browns are very well built. Their defense is number 2 in the league right now. But I kind of feel like I've seen almost enough out of Baker Mayfield to think that I don't think that that's the guy that's going to elevate them high enough to get past the first round of the playoffs. Which that's not bad, that's awesome if he could get his team, into the second round of the playoffs. But if we're talking about the best of the best, who I'm picking or who I would think to pick to go far, I'm not putting the Browns in there as of this moment. We'll see if that progresses throughout the year. But that's kind of where we're at. We're like you said, we're looking for that consistency model that's going to continue to show itself. And the thing that I notice right now, though, is the disparity between who actually has a good roster and is coached well and who doesn't. Like these defensive statistics don't mean anything to me if they're not playing somebody who's at least a top 7, top 10 in offense right now. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, yeah, that's kind of a matchup you should win. So until those teams start playing each other, I'm kind of going to stand by and wait to see how it shakes out.
And you know what? I'm really glad you said that because I want to talk about something that I've really been thinking about. And I looked at strength of schedule for the Buccaneers, and then I looked at their schedule for real, and I think they have one of the easiest routes to the NFC playoffs. Because let's take a look. I want to talk about this real quick because I want to talk about the Buccaneers season so far. All right, because I hate Tom Brady and I just hate him. I just hate him. I just hate him. So so the Cowboys right now, right, are sitting at 3-1.
3-1, second overall. Third overall offense in the league after week 4.
Mm-hmm. And the Buccaneers won 31-29. Barely won. The next week, the Bucs went into, or the Falcons came over to Tampa and got smacked 40-25. All right. The next week, Rams, okay, they lose 34-24. And then barely survive the Patriots, all right, against a rookie quarterback, right, who played very well despite those things that you showed me in some of those Twitter posts. He played very well for a rookie quarterback in the NFL. For the last pick of the first round, he played damn good. Damn good.
He was like pick 15.
What's that?
He was like pick 15.
Well, what? Okay, he was the last quarterback, right? He was
the first round.
In the first round, yeah, he was the last quarterback, right? In the first round.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so and then they squeaked by the Patriots, 19-17. All right, they squeaked by, and Nick Folk had a chance to do what he did for Dallas in 2007. 2007. I remember watching this game where Tony Romo threw 5 interceptions on Monday Night Football against the Bills. 5 interceptions, and they win 24-22 because of Nick Folk. He was a rookie. That was his rookie year, and he kicked. I don't know how far it was. It was far. It was plus 40 yards, and he makes it twice. He makes it twice because they call a timeout to ice the kicker, and he makes it. And here in the rain, at 56 yards, he bonks it. He had the distance, he just didn't have the accuracy. So we would be looking at a different Buccaneers team had they lost. But let's take a look at the rest of their schedule. So they play the Dolphins on Sunday. The Dolphins, who suck. At home. All right. Now, the Dolphins record, right now, the Miami Dolphins sit at 1-3. Then they play the Eagles, right? Finishing up or continuing on with the NFC East, who are 1-3. Oh. Then the Bears go to Tampa, who are 2-2. The Buccaneers will then play the Saints. The Saints are currently 2-2. Then they play Indianapolis. Indianapolis is 1-3. Then they play the Falcons again. And the Falcons are 1-3. Then they have a test. December 12th. We have to wait till December 12th for the Buccaneers to play anybody that's worth a damn. All right? The Bills come in and they're going to play them. Now, what's the Bills' defense ranked right now?
It's number one, and let's see. I think they're number one in yards, but let's see what else. Because we don't care about yards.
Because I know they've outscored their opponent like 118 to 40 something since week 1.
Again, that's what happens when you play the Houston Texans, who set a franchise record for the worst offensive showing in their history. Let me just put the disclaimer out there, okay?
They have goose-egged 2 NFL teams so far through week 4. They have goose-egged 2. It's incredible.
Which is how you get the disparity. Let's just be clear.
Okay, that's fine. You're not really playing into the law of averages now. You will after week 17. You'll see it. But
exactly. Okay, so they're number one in yards. They're number one in points allowed. They're 6th in sacks. They're number one in QBR allowed. 4th in third down percentage. 1st in pass yards per game. And their rush defense is 4th.
Okay, so it's safe to say that the Bills have a pretty good defense. Am I right?
It's got to be competent, at least, yes.
Okay, so it's safe to say that the Bills so far are playing good defense. That they are playing good defense. All right, they've goose-egged 2 teams. All right, playing good defense. Now, that is the only game, right? Up to that point where the Buccaneers might be tested, because then after the Bills, they play the Saints again, and then they finally play the Panthers, who we don't really know how good they are because they played Dallas, and Dallas had a great showing. But if you've been a Cowboys fan as long as I have, you can see a really, really, really good Dallas football team and have them just suck it at the end of the season or just losing the playoffs. It's happened. So they play the Panthers, and they'll play them twice. But then but in between that, they play the Panthers, Jets, and then Panthers. Seriously. So out of all that I just talked about, the Bills, the Panthers are the only two teams that they play that currently have a winning record. Yet, in ProFootballReference.com, it has their strength of schedule rated. Where's the Succaneers? Okay, there you are. So it has their strength of schedule at 4.1. 4.1, which is not super hard, but the Cowboys have 11.8. The Cowboys have a strength of schedule of 11.8, which is the second highest in the NFC, next to the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals currently only have a stronger strength of schedule than the Dallas Cowboys, and the Buccaneers are all the way at 4.1. So they're going to make it into the playoffs. They're going to win their division. If everything stays true from what we've been seeing from the teams that they're playing, the Buccaneers are going to easily win their division and host a playoff game. Now, somebody told me something very interesting that I didn't even think about. Now, let's say that Tampa Bay and Dallas have the same record. Okay, they're both division winners. They both have the same record. If they play each other, it's going to be in Tampa because the Buccaneers have the tiebreaker. And if that happens, you will see me in Tampa in full Dallas garb. All right? Saying foot signs, Brady sucks, tattooed all over my chest and my abs and everything, my ripped abs. Yeah, you're going to see it. All right? That will be that's what I want. You as a sports fan, as a Cowboys fan, you want that. You want to go back. You want to go back to Tampa. Sure, okay, yeah, you lost when they put up the banner, right? But you want to go back over there and make sure their fans see that they're not going to see another one. That's what I want. That's what I want. But who knows? May happen, may not. But I just wanted to point that out, that the Buccaneers have the easiest path to the frickin' NFC playoffs.
Yeah,
it's garbage.
You can see that with the strength of schedule. I think sometimes it's a little bit overrated, but besides the Bills, their remaining schedule doesn't look too difficult right now. But the Saints always play them very difficult, as will the Panthers, because those interdivision matchups, man, they're tough. I mean, it doesn't matter what division that you look at. When those teams play each other, it's always a slugfest. You don't know what's going to happen. They're going to give each other problems because they know their personnel and their tendencies so well. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to me that Sean Payton and the Saints might steal a game from Tampa Bay. I'm not going to be surprised by that at all.
Now let's say they do that twice. Now let's say it happens twice and the division becomes competitive. All right. Now let's say the Panthers are for real. And what happened in Dallas was just because either one, it was a fluke, or two, Dallas is just a better team, but they're not in the same division. So now let's say you have a three-way tie, or you have a three-way competition there in the NFC South, because now you got Tampa Bay, Carolina, and New Orleans. I don't think the Falcons are going to be any kind of a threat.
They're not.
But now you have three teams that are gunning for that spot. Now, how do you play them? How do you play a Tampa Bay team that has Tom Brady and that has all of their 11 starters that they had last year, but their depth sucks? They have no depth, and they're losing guys left and right. I mean, it's a war of attrition, and right now the Buccaneers are losing. It's only going to be week 5, and they've lost a lot. So
this is how everybody knows they're going to have to play them right now. The reason that I'm not going to take that Patriots game too much into account on the skies falling for the Buccaneers is because it wasn't just the Patriots and Mac Jones that the Buccaneers were playing. It's Bill freaking Belichick, which we remember was way back in the day with the Giants and his entire career as being a defensive mastermind, right? Like, the guy knows exactly what you don't like, and he knows how to confuse you and how to piss you off. And he's going to do that. And what he was doing to Brady is he was changing what Brady was looking at every single series they came out, so Brady couldn't get a beat on what they were doing. And if we really go back and think about that game should have been as close as it was if Antonio Brown reels in some of those deep balls that Brady was putting on the money for him, especially the one that should have been a touchdown. So that's number one. But number two, there's not many NFL defenses that are going to have depth that's good enough when you lose your top 3 corners that you started the season with. Anybody's defense is going to be trash at that point. I mean, that's what you're seeing with the Buccaneers right now. They can't stop anybody throwing the football. They brought in Richard Sherman. It's going to take him a couple weeks to get up to speed to figure out what they're doing and how they need to play down there. And that's assuming he's going to stay healthy. If that happens, maybe they'll be okay. They'll get a couple of their corners back later in the year, but they're not going to get them back in the next couple weeks. So kind of the same thing with the Chiefs. The offense for the Buccaneers is going to have to be putting up 30 points a game to make sure that they win. But the difference between the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, you cannot run the ball on the Buccaneers whatsoever. So that is the one thing that they do have going for them, is their safeties can be opportunistic. They still have Devin White and Levante David, the best linebacker duo in the NFL. So they're going to be okay. Am I really concerned that they're going to have too many challenges for the rest of the season? Not particularly.
Nope.
They're going to have to stay healthy. And if you look at Brady's whole career on his play with and without Gronk, his yards per game dropped by almost 60, 70 yards a game. His touchdown per game average drops by a touchdown, essentially. He plays considerably different without Gronkowski. So that's going to be something to watch as well. So we didn't know that Gronk actually got really, really hurt in that game. He had 4 fractured ribs.
He punctured a lung.
And he came back into the game after the half. Like, that's insane. So
that's stupid. He could have died.
The thing is, though, they didn't give him a freaking MRI at halftime. They gave him a dang an X-ray and said, "Hey, all right, you look like you're okay for right."
Yeah, the X-ray can't tell if it punctured tissue. It can tell you, okay, man, it looks like you fractured a rib. I don't care. Give me a shot. I'll go in. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, all right, got it. It's going to be week 5, right? He missed week 4. He didn't even make the trip. I got it. Now, puncturing a lung, breaking ribs, that is going to have a profound effect for the rest of the season. Whether you wear...
Wow, man.
Yeah, so whether or not he comes back and he wears a rib cage protector, if you want Gronkowski out of the game, just tackle him in the midsection, because it's not going to last. It's a 17 game season. All right, this really changes the way that NFL teams need to prepare to go into the postseason, because now you have 7 teams. You have an additional team going in, as well as an additional game. So, and it's not like you're getting extra bye weeks. So you need to be smart as a coach. You need to be smart and say, how am I going to play this? How am I going to ensure that I'm going to go into the playoffs with the best, healthiest team possible? Well, you got to take it. You got to take a page out of the NBA's book. Okay, the NBA plays an incredibly long season. Right, it's one of the longest sports seasons that we have. So they play 82 games, not to mention their All-Star break, and then all the preseason games. And then not to mention all the other basketball that some of these players go off and do during the summer, whether they go play in the Europe League, play in the Olympics, or FIBA championships, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's technically a non-contact sport, but it takes a toll on your body, especially being these tall guys that they are.
It's a lot of mileage, man.
It is a lot of mileage. And so Greg Popovich, right, from my beloved Spurs, would hold players back, star players, Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker. He would hold some of these guys back, especially, as they got older, so they wouldn't get hurt. The NBA fines them if they're not genuinely hurt, and he didn't care. He just, I don't care. They're not even going to make the trip. It's a game, and we're gonna play, and we're gonna play to win. But I need to ensure the health of my team. And now, as an NFL coach, especially here where every single game counts, you have to start making tough decisions. What do you do? Do you try to win as many games as you can so you can mathematically eliminate the rest of your division and say, you know what, I don't care about the first round bye because only one team gets it anyways. I just want to go into the playoffs healthy. If I got to play an extra game, I'll do it. What do you do? It's kind of a gamble, but it makes things just a lot more interesting because it's long. It's super long. And they didn't increase the number of players that you can have on the roster, right?
Not overall. Actually, I take that back. So what they did is they increased the number of people you can have active on game day, right? So that was one of the things that they did. They also changed the IR rules to where if somebody's hurt during the season, you can put them on a 3-week IR to where it's not counting against your roster total, and you can bring them back. With COVID, you can bring guys up from the practice squad without having to sign them to a full-term contract for the season. You can do that up to 3 times. So there's a lot more flexibility that you didn't used to have with the NFL roster, and I think it's fantastic. What blows my mind is why the NFL doesn't have like an MLB model. If somebody needs to be put down for 10 days, off the roster, let them do it. Who cares? Like, with the NFL salary cap, each team has to manage it as long as they're within their regulations on, not overspending or breaking any rules with contracts. Like, it doesn't matter how many transactions they make. Like, they need to get rid of those rules. If you have a 53-man roster, why can't you have all 53 active for game day? It doesn't make any sense for you to have a cap on that. Just make them all active.
Right, because the NBA has 10-day contracts also, and it's great, but it's even gotten better now that the NBA has kind of adopted this farm league type model where you have teams in smaller markets that are like your development team, and they play along with your season. So the Spurs have the Austin Spurs. Austin is just an hour and a half north of San Antonio, and they bring guys down for 10-day contracts or sign them if somebody gets hurt, and they have that ability in the NFL. You don't have farm leagues or anything like that. You have tiny other types of leagues, but you don't really have anything to the caliber of the NFL because it's such a game is such an event. That it's hard to kind of do it on a smaller scale unless they're in college or playing in high school. But no, I agree.
But
yeah,
the practice squad isn't the same like of what you're talking about. And I think we're starting to get to where they need to be. Like, the COVID rules and the new IR rules are huge steps in the right direction, because it used to be if a guy let's say Carson Wentz's injury, for example. Right before the season, he had to have a foot surgery, but it wasn't going to put him out for the year. But it used to be if you had a guy with a similar situation during the year and you wanted to access that roster spot, if you put them on injured reserve, you lost them for the entire year. And then IR was the death sentence, basically, for your season. Yeah. Yeah, and they moved it to, okay, well, you can designate, I think it was 1 or 2 players to return. Like, no, what do you mean I can designate 1 to 2 players to return? Why can't I just bring them back when they're healthy? You want a better product for the NFL, right, as a whole, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody nods your head in agreement because that's what we want. So let them do what they need to do. That doesn't make any sense.
And you know why it doesn't make any sense is because, let's think about the population, right? Let's just think about the United States, right? Almost 330 million Americans. And the NFL is really the only league, right, in the United States or in the world that plays at this professional level. So you have a 53-man roster, right, in a very violent sport. And you get guys that get hurt all the time. And we've already talked about this, and we've seen this early on, right? It's only the season's only a month old, and you have guys dropping like flies. So why not allow that flexibility? Because you're not going to have mediocrity, okay? You're really not. You have a ton of talented players out there, right? But the NFL is the best of the best of the best of the best. Now, let's say the best of the best of the best of the best, right? Pops that ACL, and you got to go with the next best. You're not putting out an inferior product. You're bringing the next level up. And, the 53-man rule is it's been there for a while. They've increased it, this and that. But there's 11 players on each side of the ball, all right? There's special teams. There's practice squads. I think there needs to be more flexibility than what they currently are doing, especially as long as this season is. But I think it's going to take some tweaking. All right, they did it. They added the odd number games. It really should be 18. It's just kind of weird to do it that way.
It's going to be 18 eventually, man. Like, I guarantee you in the next 5 years it'll be 18.
Yeah, and I mean, there's 32 teams in the NFL, 18 games, right? That means you should, right, be able to play half of the league, except you play your division twice, which makes sense. And I don't want to get away from that. I think that's the best thing to do because winning your division in this league is the most important thing. I mean, if you're a 10-6 team or 10-7 team, but you win your division. And if let's say you were in a tough division and you go into the playoffs and you're playing a 16-1 team and they had an easy division, you're gonna still get the better team going to the next round. You really are. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen that with the Giants when they played the 16-0 Patriots. They were they 10-6 or were they 11-5? I don't remember that year.
I want to say honestly, they were either 9-7 or 10-6.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I mean, it was good. It was good enough to be over 500. They wild carded it all the way up to the Super Bowl. They didn't host one game in the postseason, and they won. They beat the mighty Patriots, who had not lost a game the whole season. They did not know losing that whole season until they met David Tyree and Eli Manning and Plaxico Burress. It was nuts. It was just crazy. It was one of the happiest days of my life, but it was just nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But still, you have the best team winning the football game, and that's what you want. That's what you ultimately want. So, that's my rant. I think I just got really pissed when I saw the Buccaneers schedule. I'm like, what kind of a cupcake schedule is this? You gotta be kidding me with this crap. But
yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. Like we were talking about earlier, like, we can't necessarily say that at the moment. That's why I don't like the strength of schedule before the season or even during like the first couple weeks of the season. Like, let's see who's good first, and then we can worry about it. And if the Buccaneers do ride to I don't know, I think they lost one game. Let's just say they end up 15-2. Mm-hmm. That's all fine. But whenever you get into the playoffs, like that's when heavyweights are stepping into the ring and it's big boy time. So that's when we can really worry about it.
Yeah, because guess what? They're not playing the Packers in the regular season. All right, they're not. And then if they meet the Cowboys in the postseason again, it's going to be a very different Cowboy team. I guarantee you that, because they have to continue to do well and not suck to be there. I mean, they have to do the opposite of not sucking. They have to be exceptional. But we don't. Yeah, but we don't know who is going to turn it up in the second half of the season. We don't know. We can kind of speculate, but I mean, Washington looked okay, and they play Washington. They play Washington. They play the Giants. Heineke, showed it, and I mean, who knows? Who knows? Even if they make it to the Super Bowl, who knows what happens? Maybe the magic and awe and genius of John Gruden, right, infuses into every single player on the Las Vegas Raiders team, and they become just this powerhouse, and they steamroll the second half of the season. They steamroll in the playoffs, and they go to the Super Bowl, and they're godlike and untouchable, like John Gruden is. But we'll see. And that's what's great about having such a long season, man. It's there's so many stories, but once it goes to 18, let's say if you go to 18 games, you have 8 teams in the playoffs. Everything is nice and even. It matches up with the rest of the professional sports world. Maybe you give 2 teams a bye again because now it's a longer season. I think you're good.
Yeah, for sure. It'll all shake out, man. So before we get too long-winded here, let's take a couple of the games and just put a couple bullet points on them real quick.
Okay.
Let's start out with your boys, man. So I guess the games that I really want to pick are games that I watched. So let's start off with the Cowboys and Panthers, man. Like we know what the final score is, and we know what happened, in the third and fourth quarter, but let's understand, going into halftime, the Cowboys are actually down by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that really is we know that the Cowboys wanted to run the ball. And there were certain instances there where they kind of got away from that, and it stalled a little bit of their drives. They let Sam Darnold find DJ Moore over and over and over, and Darnold scrambled a couple times, which I can't believe the guy hasn't matched yet. He will eventually, but then we saw him come out in the second half. And, if you hear some NFL players actually talk about halftime, the halftime adjustment. Like, dude, they only are in the locker room for 15 minutes, and they're going to get some orange peel slices, and they're going to get a couple of bullet points, and they're going to get kicked back out. They're going to have time to discuss an entire strategy swap.
Maybe take a dump.
They don't. Take a dump. They don't have time. But in the second half, you saw Ezekiel Elliott really turn it on. Tony Pollard continue to do what he does. And Dak Prescott had obviously a great game. They might have even scored more points if Dalton Schultz could hold on to the football more than just a couple times a game, But they're continuing to impress. Was it Trevon? Trevon, right? Yeah,
Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs
leads the league in interceptions. He has an interception in every game this season and 2 this past weekend, to include a pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's balling. Like, Dan Quinn has that defense doing some great things right now. So, for me, man, they continue to impress me. Like, if they go at this rate they're going at right now, they've played well in every game this season. I don't think they've played poorly in any manner. It's going to be hard to beat these guys.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing that really impressed me with that game. So you're looking at Dak Prescott, and I had a lot of reservations considering he didn't play at all in the preseason. It looks like he is on another level. He was already moving up to elite status before the injury, and now it just looks like he is not. He just hasn't stopped. He picked up right where he left off, and it just shows the preparation that we didn't see in Hard Knocks and everything that he's been doing on his own to get ready and prepare, because he is playing like a very intelligent, smart quarterback. Sure, he's moving out of the pocket a little bit. He's running around, but he's making very smart passes. So we're watching him here, and he's doing some of these great things that pocket quarterbacks do, utilizing it, not holding on to the ball too long like Roethlisberger, and scoring, making really good throws. And you see this one right here to Mari Cooper, and it's just great. And then having a really, really improved defense helps you be that great of a quarterback.
Yeah. There's a couple things going on, man. Like you said, he's taking it to another level, and I think that's because he knows that offense that Kellen Moore wants to run even more than he used to, and his ability to process and understand exactly what defenses are doing is way higher than it was before. Like, he knows exactly where to go with the football. He gets to his progressions. He's not focused on any one person for too long. And for a huge majority of his passes, they're accurate. There's only a couple balls that I've seen him throw this year that were like, what was that? That wasn't a great throw. Very few of those. And they're running the ball well. The only team in the NFL that's got 2 rushers in the top 15, that would be the Dallas Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard leading the way. So, yeah, man, great stuff from them. They play the Giants this weekend, so that's one of those interdivision matchups that, I'm going to always harp on, because those are the hard games. They know what you want to do. They know how you want to do it, and they're going to have a plan to stop you from doing your favorite things. So we're going to see how that turns out. And I'm not going to snooze at the Giants, man. Somehow Jason Garrett, they've been able to put together some decent offense. They're only 1-3. They're still putting some points up. So I'm not going to think in any way, shape, or form that this is a cakewalk. Should the Cowboys win? Yes. They should win by a touchdown, in my opinion. But it's not. They can't go into this game thinking it's a cakewalk. That's going to be a huge mistake to me.
Right, and you don't think that O.P. Garrett, as they call him in Dallas, doesn't want a little bit of revenge on this? Because he was there. He was part of the Cowboys organization for a really long time. For a really, really long time. Really smart guy. Well, maybe too long. When he was a quarterback, and he was a savior in '94 on Thanksgiving. I don't know if you remember this, or I don't know. How old are you in '94? Okay, yeah, you don't remember this. So I was 13. I was 13 at this.
Old food, my friend.
Yeah, I was 13, and I watched this game. So you had Troy Aikman and his backup Rodney Peete both out of the game, injured on Thanksgiving, playing against the Packers, mind you, in Texas Stadium, and O.P. Garrett, Old Red Rocket, throws for 4 touchdowns and wins. Now, they don't win the Super Bowl that year. They lose in the NFC Championship to San Francisco. But, man, it was something to watch, because he just threw the ball up in the air, and Alvin Harper just went up and got it. He is a hero in Dallas, and even though he plays for a divisional rival, there is no way that I will hate Jason Garrett. I was sad to see him leave. I felt that maybe the Cowboys needed a little more discipline, but I was sad to see him leave the organization, whether he was a head coach or whatever. You aren't?
No.
Well, because you don't have the same kind of sentimental attachment as I do to the Red Rocket.
I have eyes, and I watch football, and I'm so happy that he's gone, because now we have an actual offense that's innovative and fits the quarterback, and we can have fun.
Right, and that's true. And you have Kellen Moore, who is really, really, really intelligent, by the way. Remember, Kellen Moore was...
They're going to have to pay him a lot of money to stay in Dallas. Otherwise, somebody is going to offer him a head coaching job soon.
Right. He was Mr. Statue of Liberty when he was with Boise State. You remember that? Against Oklahoma? Yep, yeah. Statue of Liberty. Brilliant. And now that brilliance is showing in Dallas. And I cannot be happier. So I'll get off my soapbox, all right, about Jason Garrett.
We'll move on, otherwise you'll come up with something else that you want to reminisce about the Cowboys.
I'm old, man. Give me a break.
You're fine. All right, hey, so let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. I told you last week what I thought about the Steelers offense, and I kind of tried to back that up a little bit with some statistics to let you know what was going on kind of behind the scenes. So I haven't watched every game this season, which is kind of evident. You should know that. But I did watch every minute of this game. And what I saw was kind of what I thought the stats showed me. They can't run block to save their lives. They can't run the ball very well. And when they do happen to give Roethlisberger time to throw the ball, he is either missing his targets or he's dumping the ball off because he doesn't trust the pocket. Now, if you watch the first drive, Roethlisberger threw like a 45-yard touchdown pass. He could have put it out a little bit farther to his receiver, but it was in good enough position for the guy to catch it and run in for the touchdown. Debatable if that was offensive pass interference or not, but we'll leave that alone. So he showed you like, hey, I can't get the ball down. There was a couple passes that he threw over the middle that had enough zip on him to get there. So again, like I said before, Roethlisberger's shoulder and arm is not the problem. What is the problem though is his legs, man. He cannot move at all. Like he looks like to the point to where if you put a stick in front of him, he's falling over it. Like I'm talking about just a twig. That's how bad he looks trying to move around. Like we obviously know Roethlisberger's never been the most mobile guy in the world, but he legit looks like he cannot move his legs well enough to get set for these throws. And we should know at this point that the quarterback's base, how their feet are set, and that ground up base level is going to depend a lot of how their accuracy is. And that's what's killing him right now is he can't get into place to make these throws. And he is legitimately what is wrong with that offense outside of them not being able to block and run that well. And that's also leading to the fact that they're not scared of Ben throwing the ball. So when they do run it, they're already waiting on it. You know, it's a lot of bad things rolled into one right now. And until he is able to try to find a continued balance in his game, he's not going to be accurate, man. It's going to look bad. It's going to be bad. So Mike Tomlin still said that he thinks Roethlisberger is the best option they have at quarterback on the team. Dude, if he plays like that again this week and maybe leading into next week, if I'm the head coach, I have no choice. I know he's won 2 Super Bowls and all that fanciness. And he's a great player for them. Got to bench him. Got to be done. Exact flip side for the Packers, man. Packers are rolling along. Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things. They're starting to get other guys on the team rolling. Randall Cobb had 2 touchdowns in that game. Their running game is getting going, including their backup, A.J. Dillon. Getting going to the point to where it's really pissing me off because I have Aaron Jones and I have Devontae Adams, and it doesn't do me any good if you guys throw the ball to every single person on the team and you run the ball with somebody besides Aaron Jones. I don't care if you're balanced. I need fantasy points, people.
Oh, on my money or the money fantasy team, I won by 0.95 points. 0.95. Not even a full point. 0.95. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. Right?
Winning is winning in the NFL. Winning is winning. It's not like college where you have to win big and be really impressive and have style points.
Yeah. So were you first into watching that Pittsburgh game, or did you miss it?
I saw it. I saw the Pittsburgh game.
Kind of mirror my thoughts, or what do you think, man?
No, you're absolutely right. It's you know why I watch the Steelers, and and it's tough to see that because I know that Roethlisberger is good, and I've always felt that he's held onto the ball way too long. And you were telling me that he gets rid of the ball actually pretty quick, but I don't know if that's an average statement or what, because I just see him hold on to it.
It is an average over every throw that he makes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my point, and I'll expand upon it real quick. the throws that are in the 10 to 19 yard range in the NFL are the throws that quarterbacks have to be able to make consistently game in and game out. And if you can't do those, then you're not going to succeed, right? You're just going to. Those are the money throws. And again, feet are not getting there. They're not getting there quick enough. And he also, when he does have the time to throw, like you're talking about, dude, he is the biggest double clutch quarterback of all time. It's like it's built into his brain to pump fake every time he actually gets ready to throw. I don't know why. Like, dude, if you see it, like, rip it. Like, those extra beats to pat the ball, you know, those 2 or 3 times, or that pump fake is the milliseconds that defensive end needs to get around your tackle and put you on the ground. So I don't disagree with you that there are a lot of times in everything he plays, like, dude, ball's got to be gone. Ball's got to be gone. And he's over here pump faking. He doesn't trust the pocket, but when he does, he holds on to it for too long.
Right, and he doesn't have the legs to move out of the pocket and throw it out of bounds. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see what happens the next couple weeks because who's their backup? What's this guy's name?
Mason Rudolph.
Is Mason Rudolph his backup?
I'm pretty sure the same guy that got his helmet swung on him by Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mason Rudolph. Okay.
They got Mason Rudolph and they got the other guy. He was a quarterback at Ohio State 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and then he was drafted by the Washington football team. Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. That's right. Yep, you got
those guys they have on the team.
Yep, and they got a fourth. They have an emergency quarterback, Joshua Dobbs too. I think I saw that guy. In Ohio.
He was with Tennessee. He's been with them for 4 or 5 years now, and they've never let him play.
Well, I mean, he's collecting a paycheck, so I wouldn't complain. I mean, but that's just me, and I'm 40 and 5'4", so.
I mean, it's got to be one of the best jobs in the world, though, man. You get to be there, like, around football all the time. You get to analyze it, break it down, be on the sidelines, but you don't have to do anything.
Drinking a beer.
Or string quarterback.
Right. So yeah, big problems in Steeler country right now, but I mean we just don't know until we know, and I'm Mike Tomlin's gonna have to make maybe a really tough decision here in the next couple of weeks.
Dude, through 4 games, I kind of feel like when it comes to quarterback play, if you're being inaccurate and you're not seeing things on the field to quickly and accurately get rid of the ball, like, I don't know how much you're going to be able to change that if it's structural problem, you know. But like you said, we'll find out. Okay, so last game that I fully watched that I want to talk about before we move on to whatever else. The Chargers, man. Justin Herbert is an absolute weapon. Like, the guy, is only in his 2nd season, but it seems like, dude, almost every pass that guy's throws, you get surprised if it's not right on the money and like a frozen rope throw. It seems like everything that he does is damn near perfect unless he's throwing the ball away. The guy is off the charts to me. I'm extremely impressed, and if this is the new Chargers team that we're going to see with their new head coach Brandon Staley, who's not afraid of anything.
No,
that guy will go for it on 4th and 5, on his own 40 and not think twice about it. We saw him do that at the end of the Chiefs game. Saw him do it in this Raiders game. Like, he wants to put the ball in his playmakers' hands and live with whatever happens. He's got their defense playing well. Their defense is slowly creeping up those leaderboards for points allowed, for yards, for all that stuff. And it's got a lot to do with what Brandon Staley has put in place, on the defensive side of the ball over there. Let's remember that he was with the Rams last year. That was that number 1 overall defense. The Rams were just, mauling people.
And you know, let's look at what he's done through week 4. So he has a 68.9% completion rating right now. His highest completion rating for the season was against the Cowboys, where they lost. He had 75%. He completed 75% of his passes, and he had threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So he's 9-3 right for the season on touchdowns and interceptions. But he also has almost 1,200 yards. Okay, the passing leader in the NFL right now is Derek Carr, right? Sitting just a hair under 1,400. So he is not that far behind the number 1 passing leader in the NFL right now. So yes, agreed. This guy is the real deal.
Yeah, dude. So if you look at the highlights, man, there's I think it's in the 3rd or 4th quarter. It's probably in the 3rd. It might have been in the first half. I might be confusing my time frames in that game because they put up 21 points in the first half on the Raiders. 21-0, right? Like, just dominating them. But the throw that I'm talking about, man, is a wheel route to Austin Eckler out of the backfield. And, dude, he put it over the top of the linebacker right into Austin Eckler's hands as he just could have walked into the end zone. It was great. So I'm giving him a lot of praise, and I think it's completely he deserves it. He deserves it in every form or fashion, man. The Chargers are 3-1. They beat the Chiefs, and they just beat the 3-0 Raiders. Like, you need to see how far they're going to be able to take it, you know?
Yeah, you know, and the fact that I'm going to go back to the Cowboys because I am biased, is the Cowboys won. So if the Chargers are for real, I have a glimmer of hope that so are my Cowboys. But 26 years of sucking, you know, I'm very skeptical about getting my hopes up. So we'll stay with that.
Yeah, well, let's think about that game for just a second. Like, that wasn't an easy game for the Cowboys. You know, it wasn't like the Chargers didn't fight them the entire way. Like, that was a tough game.
In a dome, kind of a dome, not really a dome. It has a roof, but it's open on the sides. It's more of a pavilion.
I texted you about that, and that drove me half.
Yeah.
I'll say it here for anybody who's going to watch this, dude. If you have a $5.5 billion stadium, there is no way in hell that any lightning or rain should deter you from playing a football game. Get out of here.
It's only open on the sides in some places.
That's what I'm saying. It has a roof.
I mean, what do you think, that Thor's going to come through and then just going to lightning bolt everybody? No, man, it's...
Dude, the broadcast said something to the effect of lightning doesn't just go up and down. I'm like, you're not wrong. However, come on.
But it doesn't J-hook. You know, because it's open on this side. I've never seen a lightning bolt do this. I've seen other things do this, but I haven't seen a lightning bolt do this. So...
No, man, that blew my mind and also bothered me to like the largest degree it possibly could. Like, I was texting you using a lot more flagrant language than I was using.
well, we're Marines, man. That's what we do. If we're not cussing, then there's something wrong with us. But
for week 5, man, what do you got that you're looking forward to? Is there any games that stand out to you, man, that you definitely want to watch and kind of keep a track of?
So you know, we have it's going to be the Rams at the Seahawks. That's going to be on Thursday. I am a little interested to see this because what's good about this is that you don't have to have NFL Network to watch this game. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, which is good. Oh, and it's going to be exclusively on Amazon Prime starting next year. So you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about this NFL Network crap. And does your provider carry it? No, man. Everybody has Amazon Prime, and you can just boot up your Prime Video on your Roku or your phone, and you can watch the game. That's great. But as far as this week, there's nothing really great that's exciting me. Really. I am interested to see how the Browns and the Chargers play out, really. But really, other than that, and of course watching the Cowboys, there's nothing that's like blowing my mind really on this one. I mean,
Okay.
they're just really
something.
okay.
All right, so Sunday Night Football is your battle test of the AFC right now, outside of the what do you call it? The Chargers and the Browns, we'll say, and the Ravens. It's the Chiefs versus the Bills. That's a huge game. Is Josh Allen going to torch this ranked 32 Chiefs defense? Kind of imagine that he's going to. But is Josh Allen going to be able to outscore Patrick Mahomes? This is going to be...
So it could be a shootout.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge... Whatever the point total is that, Vegas puts on this thing, I would not be surprised if it goes over. It's going to be a high point total to begin with. Because I don't care if the Bills are the rated number one defense right now. Patrick Mahomes' record in his career versus number one defenses is astronomical. I don't care about that. Mahomes he's an animal. So definitely going to be paying attention to that. And then I think your two sleeper games outside of your Thursday Night Football with your Rams and Seahawks, your other sleeper games right here are going to be the Browns versus the Chargers. Why? We're going to figure out some more stuff about the AFC. Browns obviously have a fantastic run game. The Chargers are coming up on defense. We just talked about how well Justin Herbert is playing. And, how's that going to shake out? That should be an actual great game to watch. Browns are number 2 in defense right now. And then your other sneaky game for me is the 49ers and the Cardinals. So Jimmy Garoppolo, for all probability purposes, is not going to play in this game with a calf strain. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have Trey Lance making his first NFL start against the 4-0 Cardinals. So rookie come in, shake things up, make things interesting, or do the Cardinals continue to steamroll and go to 5-0?
Steamroll, 5-0. I think.
It's possible. But again, we haven't seen the rookie start a whole game. We don't know what Kyle Shanahan is going to do with them because the kid can run. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Garoppolo can't run. So that opens up a whole other echelon of rushing attack that Kyle Shanahan can access. So potential for interesting matchups. But other than that, man, looking over the schedule, we'll obviously, text our picks. Monday Night Football is the Colts versus the Ravens. Not too crazy about that game. You got Jets versus the Falcons. Ugh. The Lions versus the Vikings. Yeah. The Saints versus Washington. Yeah, potential to be interesting. Patriots versus the Texans. Dolphins versus the Buccaneers. That's a divisional matchup. That could be interesting. Or it could be the Buccaneers put up 45 points. That's a possibility too. And also, you know what? There might be one more sleeper game on the horizon, man. 3-1 Packers versus the 3-1 Bengals. Old Joey Burrow over here has been slinging the rock well. Let's see how he holds up to standing opposed to Aaron Rodgers. That game is going to be in Ohio, so Packers will be on the road. I'm not sure how great the Bengals defense is at this point, but I know one of their linebackers is somehow tied with Trayvon Diggs to lead the league in interceptions right now, which is kind of blowing my mind.
Well, what is it they're saying? 2/3 of the earth is covered by water. Trayvon Diggs covers the rest.
Let me retract my previous statement. I'm sorry. He is not tied with Trayvon Diggs. He is second to Trayvon Diggs with 3 interceptions. My apologies.
Got it.
So it doesn't matter what the matchups are, man. There's going to be something that we're not expecting. If you look at the picks that we make every week, that's what we think. This should happen, and then the exact opposite happens, and then we'll be back here going, man, that was interesting. Or at some point during the season, we'll finally get all of our crap together, and we'll stop getting the stuff wrong, right?
Yep.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, yeah. So what we're gonna have to do, since we're having some technical difficulties, and since Brian couldn't make it today, the founder of this show, unfortunately, we're gonna text each other the picks. I'm gonna put them in tomorrow night, and I'll do a short video with our picks, and we'll go from there. And I'm gonna try to get those and actually just post them to the Facebook page so that everybody can see, like, hey. These three guys suck. I'm better. These are my picks, whatever. So people can have some fun and engage with it. But unfortunately, yeah, we didn't have the founder on. But we'll get him back on next week. We'll have some great things to talk about. Hopefully, we have a little bit of a better picture of what the AFC is going to look like. You're absolutely right about the Bills and the Chiefs. So we're going to see just how good this Bills defense is against the incredible Patrick Mahomes, who just came off of a 5 touchdown week. So that'll be great. That'll be the one to watch, and it's going to be on Sunday night, which is good. And everything other than the Cowboys is, I'll watch it, but we'll see. So
yeah, man. You know what Monday's going to be is if we get done Sunday afternoon. Or, Sunday evening, let me rephrase, and the Bills go out there and beat the Chiefs. Monday morning, it's going to be the Bills are the best team in the AFC, and are the Chiefs really going to be competitive for the season because they can't stop anybody? That's exactly what's going to be said.
Yep. That's exactly. I mean, and it is, and I can't. Right now, I can't disagree with that statement. But we don't know. But we'll see after Sunday night, and that's what's great, because that will answer some questions. Just real quick on the college football front, there is a change in the top 4, which you really only care about because those are the only ones that go to the playoffs right now, anyways. Now you have Iowa and Penn State in the mix. Iowa's 3 and Penn State is 4. It's kind of weird, man. I mean, you have a lot of undefeated teams like Oklahoma and Michigan. Weber's favorite team is undefeated, yet they're only ranked 9. They were 14.
Say about it.
Yeah, and he would have an argument. They've looked pretty good, but we'll see. I mean, it's hard to predict this crap because of the way they do it. I mean, it goes to a committee, and it's like Congress and politics, man. You just can't go onto the field and win games and become a champion. No, you have to impress people, and I hate that.
I hate it too, but the thing for me though, like to sum up college football right now, head and shoulders above everybody else is very, very clearly Alabama and Georgia by a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Georgia absolutely killed Arkansas. It wasn't even competitive. I mean, no. What Arkansas was doing, being the number 8th ranked team, is beyond me. And they only dropped to 13. They didn't score. But I mean, it's whatever. I mean, Notre Dame showed their true colors. They lost. They went to 4-1. Which breaks my heart.
I thought that Alabama and was it Mississippi State, or am I wrong there?
It was. I think it was Mississippi State because they play Ole Miss next week, I think.
No, it was Ole Miss. My bad. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought that was going to be a closer game for a couple of reasons, because you have Lane Kiffin running the offense at Ole Miss and Matt Corral at quarterback, who, so far this season, a lot of people have been saying like that's looking more and more likely to be the number 1 quarterback in the 22 draft, and Alabama didn't let him do anything.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And now they got to play. They play A&M. Coming up, and then they play Mississippi State. I really don't know. There's no team that's going to challenge them right now going into I mean, other than Auburn, because Auburn is now 18, but that's always the Iron Bowl. That's the end. that's just how it works, man. So, but well, I mean, we'll see. It's college football. You just watch it because either you like that school or you went there. So it's not like the NFL where we can, really, really, really use numbers and stats to make some good predictions and just kind of see where everything is going. And you just play to win, and then if you win enough, you'll go to the playoffs and just keep winning, and then there you go. You're not having to impress people. You're just winning. 11 guys versus 11 guys. It's not like that. It's not like that in college football. It's 11 guys plus the athletic director plus the conference commissioner. Plus the AP poll, the selection committee. Yeah, it's so much crap. It's so much crap that they put these poor kids through. And it's absolutely garbage. So, I mean, whatever. It's just you watch it because it's football. But as far as crowning a champion, that shit ain't gonna happen. So, and with that, we'll sign off. I think Brian wanted to say something real quick because he's I know he's he just says sorry. Hey, Brian, we understand. We'll get you next time. He is the founder of the Cheap Seats. He started the Facebook page and he started doing some great pieces. He started writing some great interest pieces on sports and the things that were happening when he had time. So this whole thing is because of him. But we miss you. We'll get him back on, and we know he's gonna have lots to say because we're gonna know some identities after Monday night. So. Yep. But that's all I got, Brett. Hey, thanks for getting on. I know it's late for both of us. We tried to get on earlier. We're having technical difficulties, and me, with this, my schedule is just hard to kind of sit down and get everything going. We need a producer so bad. So, yeah, producer would be great. So, if anybody wants to work for free, I'm totally kidding. But all right, man. So. Shoot me your picks. Let me know. I'll throw them on the spreadsheet. Get them posted up. Do a little video tomorrow. I'll get the same thing from Brian, and then we'll get back next week. If you want to do a Brad's Corner, please. I'll upload it. Let me know. And I'll try to do I will do a weather update for Sunday because I'll be traveling and it'll be fun where I'm doing it from. All right. All right, so we'll say goodbye. Thanks for checking us out on the Cheap Seats, where the seats are always cheap, and so is the production value. Good night, everybody.